أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم إنا نسألك عفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ودعاء لا يسمع وعمل لا يرفع ونفس لا تشبع رب زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين يا أرحم الراحمين يا ذا الجلال والإكرام لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and very respected sisters and everybody who is watching us over the internet, Jazakumullah khair jaza for joining us this evening on our Friday night, Usra at the Coburg Islamic Center. Beautiful evening, Alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah and khair into our learning so that inshallah we benefit at the maximum possible level. Last week we began on one particular hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and we were expanding the hadith. A very simple hadith which contains a beautiful golden rule. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to us in the following words, Rahimahullah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His mercy, His rahmah upon who? We ask. من حفظ لسانه وعرف زمانه واستقامت طريقته. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon the person who can protect, who can control his tongue. A person who knows his time, the value of his time management. A person who knows his istiqamah, his path. And last week we began to talk about what is the concept of controlling, protecting our tongues. Tongue is such a device that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, which sets apart from the animals, that through tongue we can build empires. Through tongue, over just in a couple of minutes we can finish off everything. Through tongue, it is the most poisonous, it is the most effective weapon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. It is something that, it is a tarjuman, it's an interpreter, it is a translator of what is in our hearts. Whatever is in here, that comes out. If this is filled with hikmah, wisdom, hikmah comes out. If this is filled with fitna and fujur and haram, evil, this comes out exactly the same. So this, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if you promise me two things, one is this thing here, that is your tongue, and what is between your private parts, if you guarantee me that you will protect them from falling into harams, I guarantee you Jannah. I put my name, put my signature underneath as Muhammad Mustafa as the guarantor. So important. So when we look at our literature, we look at this particular topic so seriously, and many of our ulama, many of our scholars put this particular topic under afatul lisan, the calamities that can come onto a person through the tongue. They put down many sins that can be possibly committed by this particular little device called the tongue. Last week we looked at 4 or 5 of them, and inshallah tonight I want to finish them to the best of my ability, so we can look at the concept of time management as well as the knowing the path and the istiqamah, inshallah. Last week we said the first afat or lisan, according to some of our scholars, speaking about that which does not concern you. This is the favorite pastime of human beings, talking about other people, not themselves, about other people. Secondly, delving into batil, falsehood, that is talking about acts of disobedience, such as drinking, gambling, and other gatherings of sin, as if we are bari, as if we are protected from such thing. We talk about batil of other people. And thirdly, we looked at as an afa, as a calamity of the lisan, to engage in lowly speech. This is referring to mockery, talking too much needlessly, or needlessly repeating oneself and making efforts to rhyme in one's speech, to speak eloquently, to go out of your way to impress others with your words. And we looked at a hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this regard. And fourthly, obscenity and crudeness. This means to speak about distasteful things in explicit terms. People of khair, people of goodness, speak about such things only indirectly and using symbolic language. But to speak about things explicitly, you can express something with adab. You're supposed to express it with adab. You don't talk about explicitly because, I'm a direct person. I speak my mind. No, there is adab line. And number 5, we talked about joking as an afa, as a destroyer, as a calamity. Joking is permitted in Islam in moderation. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to joke, and we gave some examples. One day, one lady came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and an old lady, she said, Ya Rasulullah, am I going to go to Jannah? And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with a smile on his face, he says, no, only the young go to Jannah. Old people don't go to Jannah. She was crying, distraught. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a smile says, when you go to Jannah, you won't be old like this. You will be a new body, young in your prime. You will go to Jannah. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he used to joke every now and then, he used to joke, but he used to speak the haqq and the truth. Not something like our jokes. Abdullah ibn Amr bin As radiallahu anh used to write the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, record it down. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anh said to him, don't write this. We are people of oral tradition, not writing. We're not good with pens and papers and writing things. He says, and after all, he is a human being like us, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes he gets angry, and sometimes he speaks, with anger. Sometimes he might joke. Sometimes he said things. He says, you should not write everything. So Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiallahu anhuma, this young man, he stopped writing. But after a week, he couldn't help himself. And he went and asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, these people are telling me that I should not write your hadith. I was writing it, everything that you were saying. They said you're a human being and you joke around and you maybe muck around or something every now and then. He says maybe certain things will come out of your mouth which is not proper. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with a surprise, he said, never. Write everything that you hear from me. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, whatever comes from my mouth is absolutely measured controlled and protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never, nothing comes out of his mouth. So in terms of even the jokes of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, firstly, we said it was always a truth. Never a false joke. Secondly, it was usually done with people, women and children to make them laugh a little bit. To elevate their stress levels, stresses, and to make them laugh and put a smile on their faces. Not with everybody, not every occasion. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not stand up and do stand-up comedy, for example. Not like some people do today. And it was a rare case, we said, as part of the adab. It was not something that was done regularly. Every now and then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do it, but not always. So people who hide around behind this particular so-called sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be humorous, and they let their tongue out, lash their tongue out and lull their tongue out and cause so much damage to people, they can never retract their statements afterwards, they are in trouble. This is afatul lisan. This is something that we need to be careful of. Number 6, last week I think we stopped at putting people down and mocking them. Istihza, mocking people. This means drawing attention to the flaws of another person in a way which makes others laugh. You make fun with another person. Either some difficult deformity, physical deformity, or mental deformity, or the mistake they make. You crack a joke on that person and you put that person down and everybody laughs at this, mocking at that person. This is absolutely haram. In Australian parlance we call it sarcasm sometimes. We get back at the person with our words, with this weapon of ours, which is absolutely haram. It could be not only words sometimes, imitate the person. Mimic the person's behavior. You walk like him, talk like him. You know, his expressions, you use his whatever deformity he has. You make fun of with his, the way he walks, with his sickness, for example. An elderly person perhaps. Then if you, or the girls, our daughters in particular, when they roll their eyes and when the adult person turns around, they imitate these all forms of haram. It's all to do with tongue. On action, statement, or by signs or signals even. All of this is completely prohibited in our Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 7, one of the afat of lisan, the tongue, is revealing secrets, breaking of promises, and lying in statements and oaths. All together, it's a huge area. We can talk about the whole thing until Fajr time tomorrow. But we haven't got much time. I just summarize them in few words. All of that is absolutely haram, except for that in which there is found a permission, such as lying to one's wife or during warfare. You mean, excuse me bro, you lie to your wife? No. There are certain lies you should be told. Certain lies, yes, you should tell your wife a beautiful lie. And she tells you a lie all the time also. How, bro? What are you talking about? She says to you, after 45 years of marriage, she says to you, you look as handsome as the day we got married. Look at me. Do I look like handsome as I was before? It's a blatant lie. But that kind of lie is halal, because that increases muhabba between two persons. Instead of saying, oh, she forgot to bring you the sugar to put into your tea or coffee, you say, instead of saying, oh, bring me the sugar, it says, don't worry about the sugar. Just put your little finger in it. It'll be all sweet and nice and beautiful. These are all words between muhabba, love, between husband and wife. These are lies. But I'm a Muslim, bro, I can't lie. It's haram. This kind of lie is permissible. But if your wife is really pushing you so much, she's pushing you to buy her a Porsche every day, a Ferrari every day. She's in love with Ferrari, and you're only earning what they call $300 a week. And it's impossible with your wages to buy it. So, yeah, inshallah, honey, no problem, dear. Inshallah, yeah, today, this week, by the end of the month. Yeah, she just wants to hear your promise, yeah. Alhamdulillah. This is a lie. Of course, this is not something that is the cheating on your wife or cheating on your family members, or then say this lie between, it's halal. No, that's not the one. You know what I'm talking about. And in the warfare, we said, when your enemies hold you captive and they ask you, where are the weaponry? Where are you keeping the warehouse where all your weapons are? And where the Muslims are hiding? Tell me. Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim, I never lied. They're over there, over there. That's haram. It is fard upon you to lie at that time. You cannot speak the truth. So there are exceptions to the rules. Yes. Ghiba, number 8, backbiting. Unfortunately, this is the most common disease amongst the Muslims that emanates from this afat, this catastrophe, this calamity that falls or comes to us through our tongue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala absolutely forbidden ghiba, backbiting, in the most extreme terms, and compared one who does it to the one who eats dead human flesh, carcass. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in Hajjul Wada', in the khutbah that he delivered in the farewell, the pilgrimage, he said in the hadith, فَإِنَّ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَأَمْوَالَكُمْ وَأَعْرَاضَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ حَرَامٌ كَحُرْمَةِ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا في شهركم هذا في بلدكم هذا ليبلغ الشاهد الغائب فإن الشاهد عسى أن يبلغ من هو أوعى له منه. Sahih al-Bukhari. Surely today, right now, and as it was before, your blood, killing each other in other words, your property, taking it unlawfully, and your dignity, your honors, your namus, are sacred among you, like the sacredness of this day of yours, in this month of yours, in this land of yours, in Makkah al-Mukarramah. Let the witness deliver the message to the absent. The person hearing this must pass it on to the people who are not here, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. For verily, the witness to the another who understands it better than himself. Again, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, O you who believe, with your tongues, but faith has not yet entered into your hearts, do not backbite the Muslims. Do not seek out their nakedness. Whoever follows the nakedness of others, faults of others, Allah will seek his nakedness, his faults. When Allah seeks someone's nakedness and faults, He will scandalize him in his own house. So it is absolutely haram to look for the faults and awrat, the nakedness of others. This is the favorite pastime of Muslims today. Where shaitan alayhi la'na, as our mashayikh tell us, he goes around, shaitan is a beautiful bucket, honey. They go around and put the women's mouth, men's mouth, Muslims, talk about others, for hours. For 10 minutes, 15 minutes of khutbah, they cannot listen, it's too much for them. For 10 minutes of Qur'an recitation, it's too much for them, they get so bored. 10 minutes of dhikrullah is too much for them. But making ghiba, talking about juicy bits of other people, they can spend hours on the machines, the cell phones or the hell phones, the SMSs or the Facebook or the fitna book, whatever you want to call it. They can talk for hours, Twitter for hours on haram stuff, on other people's stuff. This is the nature of Muslims today, unfortunately. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us in Surah Al-Hujurat, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann, inna ba'd adh-dhanni itham, wa la tajassasu, wa la yaghtab ba'dukum ba'da, ayuhibbu ahadukum an ya'kula lahma akhihi maytan fakarihtumuh, wattaqullah, inna Allaha tawwabur rahim. O you who call themselves Muslims, the ones who have iman in their hearts, who go around and say, Alhamdulillah Muslim, Alhamdulillah. Avoid much suspicion, dhann, for some suspicion is absolute sin. Do not spy on one another, nor backbite one another. Would one of you love to eat the flesh of his dead brother? Nay, you would abhor it. So similarly, avoid backbiting and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. As part of the mu'jiza of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, during the time of companions, they used to say, sometimes from the side of the munafiqeen where they used to live, a rih of the most qabih, the most terrible, disgusting smell, rotting smell used to come towards us. And we would immediately know that the munafiqeen are making ghibah. We will feel the terrible, disgusting smell comes. We know that ghibah is coming. Ghibah is made. Backbiting of Muslims are made. There was one particular expedition, I think it was during Ramadan, and people were fasting in one particular tent. Two ladies, they could not handle their hunger anymore. They said, we're going to die. It became so unbearable, the hunger. They said to the person who's outside, can you please go and ask Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for a special concession for us so that we can break our fast, because we're about to die, perish. The person came and asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, Ya Rasulullah, there are two women in that particular tent asking permission to break their fasts. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says they already broke their fast with haram. The person didn't say anything. He came back and he said to the woman, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you already broke your fast with haram. They said, Astaghfirullah, we never ate anything. Allah is our witness, we didn't do anything. We didn't eat anything, we're still fasting. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam never lies. Let's go and see him. Both women came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you were backbiting. You're already eating the dead flesh of such and such brother of yours, or such and such sister of yours, another Muslim. It says, vomit if you don't like it, if you don't believe me. They put their fingers into their throats, and big pieces, chunks of rotten flesh came out of their mouth. As a mu'jiza, as a miracle of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, if like the person who lives, who works in underground, in a disgusting sewage system, can you imagine the foul smell in a sewage, the channels under the city? So if you were to work there, initially when you get a job with that place, it stings, you can't stand the smell. But if you work there for a couple of years, you don't smell anything anymore. So when you come out, everybody stings. Everybody says to you, oh, you smell, get lost. You say, no, I'm all right. Ask any butcher. Some brothers, I love our brother, Muslim butchers, when they come, they want to hug. Bro, what's this? Wallahi Habib, I took a shower. But you still stink. You still stink. It gets into you. The reason why we don't smell those bad odors, bad smells of ghibah, because we are engaged in it ourselves constantly, so we don't smell it anymore. We are used to it. And yet ghibah is unfortunately every day in our lives eating our iman away, eating our Islam away, eating our shakhsiyya, Islamic personality away, bring us closer to shaitan alayhi la'na, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Surah Al-Isra, Bismillah, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلٌّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. And do not follow that of which you do not have any knowledge of. Indeed, the hearing, the sight, and the heart, you will be asked about all of these. In all these majalis, gatherings where ghibah is made, it is all based on conjecture, based on dhann. Su'i dhann, not husn dhann, su'i dhann, generalization. I know he does this. I suspected, he would be such a person. You add on 5 other, additional bad things. And the person who hears from you goes and tells somebody else. He says, did you hear? The person could have just done one little mistake, and yet it like a snowball. Shaitan alayhi la'na makes it so big so that when you go and speak to other people, it becomes a huge problem, and the sharaf, the izzah, the dignity of that person is already smashed into pieces. It takes sometimes years to rebuild that particular dignity of that person. And yet we are in one particular sitting, destroy the whole community, destroy the whole jama'ah, destroy the whole person's life. Through ghibah, this heinous crime. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَدِيدٌ. He does not utter a single word except that there is with him an angel ready and waiting to record it. This is the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two angels put in charge. Kiraman katibin. Kiraman katibin. يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. They know exactly what you're doing. And what do? Constantly write. Brother, I believe that, yeah, it's in the Qur'an too. But when you're doing the haram, when you're saying haram, when you play the sharaf, when you really destroy the sharaf of another Muslim, dignity of another Muslim, where was your heart? Where was your iman? You thought the angels were writing. You ignored the angels. Angels also listened and joined you. And they also called what they call participate in your ghibah. Na'udhu billah. They were shaking their heads. The angels were crying when you're especially slandering, when you're making iftira, when you're making ghibah of a fellow Muslim, when you're destroying him. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, says, it is wajib for every sane adult to guard his tongue against talking, except when it contains a clear benefit. It is wajib to be silent. It is wajib to have sumt. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a different hadith, he says, Salat is imaduddin. Correct? But as-samt afdal. The salat that you do nawafil. The extra, you want to stand in salat, but there is a better ibadah called silence. He says, as-siyam junnah. Siyam is a shield against the harams, against Jahannam. As-samt afdal. Subhanallah. But we do not know this. But the generations before us, they used to be so careful with their tongues. They will not utter a single word. A day will pass that people buy things. I want to buy 2 breads, for example. It's $2. I say to the bread maker, baker, Assalamu alaikum. Where's the conversation? How was the weather, mate? How you going? Did you watch the footy last week? Yeah. Oh. Huh? You just talk nothing for nothing. Absolute trivial stuff. And the Malaika writing. Yeah. Imam Nawawi, great faqih in Shafi school. Riyadh al-Salihin, remember? 40 hadith, remember? Him. He says, this great jurist, it is wajib to keep silent. It is wajib to keep shut. Shut your trap. Don't open it. Unless when you speak, there is a clear benefit in it. Some manfa'ah, some benefit that is going to come out. Unless you learn how to speak beneficially, learn to control it. Because this is the greatest reason, one of the main reasons Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says as to why human beings will fall into Jahannam. This is the main reason. This tool here, because of this, we fall into Jahannam. This. Why do you think Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in some of the hadith that we know of, that there have been shown Jahannam, women, there are so many of them in Jahannam. Why is that so? Among many other reasons, because they cannot control this quite easily. Yep, talk. Yeah, talk, but what? For what benefit? But in this day and age, that was the old. Now men talk more than women. This is Akhir Zaman. We talk more than women. And we will also join them, na'udhu billah, in Jahannam if we don't watch out. If talking and remaining silent are of equal benefit, then He says it is sunnah to abstain. For permissible talking might lead to something undesirable or forbidden, as in fact is very often the case, and nothing matches safety. When you have silence and talk, if you talk, it's not going to benefit much. It's not going to just a neutral thing. It's better to keep safe than sorry afterwards. When you begin to talk, Ya Latif. Ya Latif. I visit some families sometimes. I deliberately keep silent, keep my words minimum, because I need to visit. Part of the Salatul Rahim, for example. Because as soon as I open my mouth, I talk about one particular person, another particular person. Whoa, I gave them the fuel to fire. They begin to talk so many bad things about other person that we just mentioned the name of. So I know this, therefore, if I mention it'll be good, but if I don't mention it's even better. So I keep quiet, safer. So I don't give them the opportunity to make ghiba, because that's their disease. That's their disease. So this is another method that we can use. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says, in both Bukhari, Muslim, in the Musnad of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Imam Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should say something khair, good, or should keep silent. This is a command of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you have something nice to say it. If you haven't got anything nice to say, keep quiet. Man, when are we going to talk? Don't talk. Because everything comes out is recorded down. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. And Imam Nawawi on this particular hadith, he says, this hadith is explicit. That it is imperative, it is compulsory to not talk unless the speech is of benefit. It's good. Which is that therein where there is some benefit. If a person is in doubt as to whether there will be any benefit, then he should absolutely remain silent. How? It's very difficult in this day and age. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us. As Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam also says in the hadith that last week we mentioned, he says, if you were to guarantee me what is between the two jaws of yours and what is between two legs of yours, I guarantee you heaven for that particular person. Again, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a different hadith in Sahih Bukhari, hold your tongue, let your house contain you, and weep over your own sins. Hold your tongue, but maybe this is specific to that particular time when the fitan came out. People were, during the time of some of the companions, it was really troublesome after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. Because of this particular hadith, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu did never come out of the house afterwards. He just went, and it's called self-imprisonment or exile into his own home. So because if he comes out, he's going to be mixed with the fitna. This group is calling that one, this group calling that one, there's so much fitna going on. He went inside and never spoke about anybody, and he kept his home as his safety, his fortress to protect himself. Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu says, are we even, Ya Rasulullah, be accountable, held accountable for what we say all the time? Anything that comes out of our mouth, are we going to be questioned on the day of judgment? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, may your mother be bereaved of you, Ya Mu'adh. Is there anything which drags people into the Jahannam on their faces other than the harvest of their tongues? Ya Latif. Again, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says, كل المسلم على المسلم حرام دمه وعرضه وماله. All of Muslims is prohibited to one another, as a fellow Muslim, his blood, his honor, his property. Okay, we understand his killing is haram. Yep. How about his property? It's also haram, you can't confiscate. How about ard? How about his honor? When you make a false accusation about somebody, because somebody told you on the grapevine something bad about that person and you begin to change, what happens to that person standing in the community? It's gone, destroyed. It's also haram. We need to be careful. Again, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, O assembly of those who have believed with their tongues, but into whose hearts faith has not yet reached, do not backbite the Muslims, nor seek out their secrets. Because for whoever seeks out the faults of his brother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will seek out his secrets. And whoever has his secrets sought out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will disgrace him, even if he hides in the depths of his house. Beware of backbiting, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, for backbiting is more serious than zina. Backbiting is more serious than adultery. A man may commit adultery and drink wine, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, and then make tawbah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him. But the backbiter will not be forgiven by Allah until his backbited companion, his friend, forgives him personally. Not only one person, sometimes we backbite the whole group. I'm going to Hajj this year, bro. Inshallah, I'll be pure. Yeah. Have you sought any haqq? Did you ask for the haqq to make halal to you? Those people that you committed, that you destroyed people's life? You are the walking gazette, remember? You are the talking gazette, remember, in the community? Oh, you're going to go be a shaykha, inshallah, hajjah. Hajj. Get lost. You go and fix that one up first. You go and fix your relationships first. You go and ask for, you made tawbah to Allah, Allah accepted you. How about the people? On the day of judgment there are two mahkamah. One with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you and Allah, to do with Him, and hukuk al-Rabb. And the other one is hukuk al-Ibad. Hukuk al-Ibad are going to sue you. And because of this, you'll be dragged into Jahannam on your face first. You need to make it up with those people first. You destroyed in the past. You go and fix it up first. Ghiba, definition Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam also gives it to us. He says, ghiba is you're mentioning your brother with something about him that he dislikes. In other words, he doesn't want to be spoken about in front of other people. Whatever that particular thing is, could be trivial to you. Could be something that in your eyes, nothing. But in his eyes or in her eyes, it is something big. For example, you're a fat person. And you don't like people being fat. Okay? But that particular person is so conscious of their weight. They're so embarrassed with their weight. For you to say, you know the fat person? The moment that you say that, you know the fat person, you just backbitten about that person. That person felt so embarrassed. If they were to hear that you mentioned them about his weight or her weight, Ya Latif, this is backbiting, this is haram. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with Aisha radiallahu anha, and one lady came and asked a question, a sahabiya. And after this she got her answer, she was walking past. She went back. Aisha radiallahu anha said, wow, she's such a tall lady. Tall lady. She's speaking the truth. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya Aisha, you just made ghiba. You just backbiting about the person. Even this is backbiting. Why? It is mentioning of something that other person were to hear will be upset. Doesn't want that thing to be mentioned. That particular thing about that person not to be mentioned in front of others. This is ghiba. But I'm talking the truth, man. I only speak the truth as haqq. Rubbish. If it was a lie, it's iftara, it's buhtan, it is slander, it's even double. Making ghiba is worse than committing zina, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. And what areas do we make ghiba about? The physical body defects. Tall, short, fat, skinny. Perhaps the lineage of the family. Oh, he's from Dumbo, he's Mishmish. So, did I create myself? Because I was born in Mishmish, I was a Mishmish, so what am I? Not a human being? No, you're a Mishmish, mate. Not good enough, not a triply. Trablusi, oh, ya halib, ya halawa. Yeah? Even to use somebody's background. He's Lebanese, man, astaghfirullah azim. Turks, astaghfirullah azim. Yeah, this is haram. Oh, he's an Aussie. And so, Did he have a choice in becoming an Aussie or the Turk or Lebanese or Chinese for that matter? Who created that person? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot make fun of such person. You cannot backbite that person. It's haram. His lineage, his family, he's from such family. Ooh, na'udhu billah, don't come close to them. The guy didn't do anything. He's sinless. But because he belongs to such family, astaghfirullah azim, we know about their family, mate. They're all this. It's haram upon haram. About a person's character, about a person's clothing, even clothing. You do not say anything about anybody. Just close it shut and you are safe. That's safety. Abdullah al-Samarqandi, Qaddasallahu Sirrahu al-Aziz, in his Tanbih al-Ghafilin, explains that, in essence, that there are 4 types of ghibah. The first type is the kufr type of ghibah. Second type is nifaq type of ghibah. Third is ma'asiyah type of ghibah. And the fourth is the mubah type of ghibah. 4 types of ghibah. One is kufr. The other one is absolute hypocrisy, nifaq. And the third one is sin, absolute ma'asiyah. And the fourth one is permissible ghibah. Permissible ghibah. The kufr type is when, if one makes ghibah, and when you remind him or her that not to make ghibah, this is haram, he says, that's not ghibah. That's not ghibah. I'm telling the truth. This is kufr. Ulama say to us, because this person deems what is haram into halal. Changes the ghibah into halal. It says, this is not ghibah, I'm telling the truth. It is ghibah because it's the truth. It is ghibah as a ghibah as a ghibah. You cannot change the ghibah into halal. Because you like it, or you know, because somebody tells you to your face not to do it, because it's heavy on your nafs, you say, no, it's not ghibah. It is ghibah. You're making ghibah. It's clear, abundantly clear ghibah. Therefore, this is haram. When you do this, and when you say that it's not haram, something already haram, you say it's not a haram, you change your haram into halal, therefore, this is kufr. Nobody has the authority to change halal into haram or haram into halal. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's all written. You say to the guy, drinking is haram. He says, no, it's only beer. Astaghfirullah al-azim. It's only some of the haram. Why should it be haram? Brother, the zina is haram. He says, why should it be haram? It's between 2 consenting adults. We're living in Australia. What did he just do? Turned haram into halal. Similar to when you say to a person who's making ghibah, don't make ghibah. He says, this is not ghibah. That's why it becomes kufr. You become a non-Muslim, very dangerous. Because you changed halal into haram. Very dangerous in Africa. If he insists, if he does this out of jahiliyyah, you teach the person not to say this is what is dangerous. But if he persists on this, he still argues with you because he doesn't want to lose an argument, and he becomes a disbeliever, according to Sharia. Number 2, nifaq type is when the backbiter mentions about the other person, but without giving names, and yet the listener fully knows about the person being spoken about. We're talking about one particular person that everybody knows. Without mentioning names. Remember, without mentioning names, you know, everybody knows who you're talking about. This is sign of nifaq. Without mentioning, you talk about the other person that everybody understands. This is type of nifaq. We need to be careful of this one, inshallah ta'ala. Sometimes we say, na'udhu billah, some of the so-called religious people, amongst the hajis, amongst the muttaqi persons, they say, they even disguise it, they wrap it up around beautiful Islamic words. What do they say? Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah who has saved us from such evil, like certain people who do such things. The only people who do such things is those people, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved us. What are you doing? You're making ghibah. even using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, as a wrapping, as the dress, you dress it up, and you making ghiba with Islamic terminology. This is pure nifaq. And sometimes we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, billah, na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Again, you talk about one particular group of people, or a few people who doesn't do the same things. But everybody knows when you're talking about that person. And sometimes we even appear to be making dua for that person. Still making riba. Shaitan alayhi la'na works so in very clear ways, not mysterious ways, clear ways. You say, for example, that poor fellow, Allah has afflicted him with such great calamity. May Allah forgive him and us, inshaAllah. You just made riba about the person. Indirectly, you just told everybody that, he's got that particular problem. You just keep your mouth shut. And that's the safest. Because ghiba is such a disease that whoever hears it gets into trouble. Whoever speaks it, get into trouble. If you say something, you get into trouble. If you don't say something in front of the person, you get into trouble. Ghiba is such a disease that you can never save yourself from. So in that case, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Islam teaches us, when somebody makes ghiba about another person, you have to stand up. And you have to say that what you're saying is not true about that person. Come to the aid and help of that person who's been backbitten about. You say, this is not true. What you're saying is incorrect. What you're doing is despicable, disgusting. You should never talk about such persons. And, okay, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. No. That's it, I said what I said. Okay, let's enjoy ourselves. No. You need to leave that majlis, that gathering. I won't associate with you. It's part of the adab, procedure, that you must leave that gathering and leave. Protest. Boycott that particular gathering. Because they are backbiting about the honor of another Muslim. This is very dangerous. The ma'asiyah type of ghiba, the sin, absolute sin, they're all sins, but ma'asiyah type of ghiba is knowing fully well the harmness of the act of ghiba, and yet openly and clearly mentioning names and making ghiba without any guilt or remorse or shame. This is the type of ghiba that we make. The open one, clear one. We know this is haram, but we still do it. This is absolutely haram. Ma'asiyah type. And the last type of ghiba is the mubah type, that is permissible type, when one discloses the transgressions of a fasiq person and the mubtadi' person, a bid'ah of a person, who unashamedly performs them in public. The guy is selling drugs in the Muslim neighborhood. He's a Muslim, yeah. Man, he's one of us. Who cares? This guy is a fasiq, he's selling haram. He's poisoning our children. But ghiba, man, haram, astaghfirullah, don't talk about shar. No. You need to talk. You need to inform your neighbor's children, neighbor's family. Be careful of this fasiq. Get rid of him. Don't come close to your children because he sells drugs. This one here, be careful. And he does it unashamedly. Unashamedly. He's got no remorse. He's got no feeling of any guilt in his face. And he does it. To talk about such person, to inform others, is not ghiba. It's mubah to say so. Sometimes it is an obligation for you to do so. There are a few more words I can say, but I think salat time is upon us. I want to finish this, just the afat of lisan, by saying the final hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this regard. This is one of the most fascinating and yet most beautiful hadith that I know of. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the son of Adam, all of us, reaches the morning, when he wakes up in the morning, all of his limbs, from his hands, his feet, his brains, his heart, anything, every part of his body, every single limb, will beg the tongue, "O tongue, please have mercy upon us. If you're good, if you're quiet, we're safe from you. If not, we're in trouble. Because we're going to burn in Jahannam because of you. If you hold yourself, no trouble comes to us. But if you let yourself go, speak in haram, do haram, with words, when you say haram things, make ghiba, iftira, namima, there are 35 different diseases of the tongue itself. If you were to say those things, he says, we'll be all in trouble. Fear Allah, please fear Allah, and don't do anything silly. Every day, every morning, the other limbs of a human being begs the tongue to please keep quiet and be intelligent, be smart. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be amongst those really good Muslims who know the value of silence, who can hold their tongue. And when they use their tongue, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us those to be amongst those people who benefit others with their tongue, with their words. That when sometimes we hear, when we want to praise a good Muslim, we say, MashaAllah, honey man, asal habibi. When he speaks, he's so good. He's MashaAllah, he's such a beautiful brother. MashaAllah, why is that? Because of his tongue, because of his akhlaq. Akhlaq is the character, the condition of your heart expressed outwardly. And this is the tarjuman. Can you imagine, my akhlaq is perfect, bro. My akhlaq is beautiful, but nobody comes close to me because with this one, I hurt everybody. I hurt everybody. Your akhlaq is no akhlaq at all. This is the one that makes it or break it. Therefore, the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, Rahimahullah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon the person, Man hafidha lisanahu. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the person who can control, who can protect his tongue. And what does Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about a good Muslim? Who is the best Muslim? The one whose neighbors are safe from his tongue and his yad. Safe from what? From his tongue. What? We go and bite them with our tongue? Yes, this is worse than biting. Ali karramallahu wajhah said to us, the wound that is opened by a sword, metal blade, can heal even after 40 years. You can become better. But the wounds that is opened by this tongue here, this little device, will never heal. So we need to be, inshaAllah ta'ala, aware of this particular device. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us amana. Allahumma ja'alna min at-tawabin, waj'alna min al-mutatahhirin, waj'alna min ibadika al-salihin, waj'alna min alladhina la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Allahumma inna nas'aluka mujibat rahmatik. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasana, wa fil akhirati hasana, wa qina adhab an-nar, birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma rabbana ighfir lana ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر صدق الله العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة.